Hi, my name is Trevor Jones, and today is June 10th, 2018.
Hello, Trevor. Thank you for letting me interview you regarding Erickson's psychosocial stages of development. The purpose of this interview is for you to demonstrate your understanding of the theory and how the theory applies to you and students you currently teach or plan to teach. Imagine I have never heard of Erickson's theory of psychosocial development. Briefly explain salient features of Erickson's theory of psychosocial development and also what is the source of this information.
Thank you for asking. According to Chapter 2, page 46 of Robert E. Slavin's Educational Psychology, Erickson hypothesized that people pass through 8 different stages of psychological development, and at each stage they must face a different crisis. Generally, the crisis is resolved and people can continue on to the next stage. However, sometimes people do not pass a certain crisis and must resolve that later in life.
At what stage of development do you see yourself now? Why do you think so?
I see myself at stage 6, intimacy versus isolation. I am past stage 5. I know who I am. I know the career choice. So I am ready to share my life with another.
Explain how being at this stage of development may influence your behavior and outlook in your classroom. Or what do you base this explanation? On what do you base this explanation?
According to Erickson, I'm at the stage where I know who I am, so it'll be beneficial to my students because I'll be stable in a sense that I know my career choice and I want to move forward in it. It could be toxic depending on the relationships I get involved in, since I am looking for someone to share my life with, according to Erickson. If I find myself in a toxic relationship, that could drag and drain my energy and possibly affect my ability in the classroom, so I have to watch out for that.
Identify at what level your students are likely to be at Erickson stages.
Well, seeing that I'll be working at a middle school, the children tend to be ages 12 to 14, 15. According to Erickson, that's stage 5. He identifies this as identity versus role confusion.
Explain how being at this stage of development may influence your behavior and outlook in your classroom. On what do you base this explanation?
Well, according to Erickson, 1980, page 94, at this stage, students are trying to figure out who they are, and they are starting to be less influenced by their parents' decision and more influenced by their peers. So I could see my students being distracted and worrying too much about what other kids might think of them rather than me, an adult, might think of them. So I'll have to definitely fight that battle, and as well as students will be more tempted to do what's popular, and I'm going to have to get their attention. Yeah. Oh, well, they will be experimenting at this stage with various sexual, occupational, and educational roles, so it's very confusing for them. So to get them to focus on school will probably be my most important task.
What might be some disconnects between you and your students, keeping the differences in the 2 stages of mind?
Well, they might not want to listen to my advice, but rather listen to their peers, and I will be looking for someone to share my life with. So as I'm looking for someone to be intimate with, they're going to be looking for peer approval. So depending on the dynamics of my relationships, aiming for healthy, the students, I risk not having the energy and focus to connect with these kids who are ultimately, most likely in my class, will be one of the fewest things on their important list because they're dealing with who they are, what they are, their desires, their wants, and to be accepted by their peers.
Any final comments?
I find Erickson's 8 stages of his 8 psychological stages, I find Erickson's theory very helpful. It's a nice guideline to help anybody who's confused or might have been stuck, like I mentioned in the opening, might have not moved past a crisis and they can't see it. I might be able to shine some light with this theory. It's helped me already learning about what stage I'm on, and it helps clarify my mind and makes it smoother for me. So I'm glad I read this. I'm glad I learned about it, and I'm going to use it as a guideline moving forward to help me or anybody else that might be stuck in one of those stages.
And we are complete today. Thank you for the interview. It was lovely.
Thank you very much. I hope I get an A.